Hello, dear bakers. Today we are embarking on a delightful journey. We are going to bake a magnificent Black Forest cake. This cake is a true classic, loved by so many. It comes all the way from Germany, you know. It is called Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte there. It's famous for its rich chocolate layers, and of course the lovely cherries and cream. It really is a taste of heaven in every single bite. A perfect treat for any special occasion. Baking this cake at home might seem a little daunting, especially a large 2-kilogram one, which is quite impressive, but I assure you it is quite achievable. With a little patience and my clear instructions, you'll do splendidly. Imagine the joy of presenting your own homemade Black Forest cake. Your friends and family will be absolutely thrilled. It's a real showstopper, this cake. It always brings smiles to everyone's faces when it appears. The secret to a wonderful Black Forest cake is in its parts. We have a light, moist chocolate sponge. This sponge is often soaked in a cherry liqueur called Kirsch. Then there are the juicy cherries, bursting with flavor. And finally, lashings of freshly whipped cream. These elements come together to create a perfect balance. The chocolate, fruit, and cream work in harmony. It's a truly delightful combination of textures and tastes. Don't you worry about making a big cake. A 2-kilogram cake is certainly a grand affair, perfect for celebrations. But we will take it step by step, nice and steady. I will guide you through each part of the process, from mixing the batter to the final cherry on top. You will see that it is not as complicated as it looks, so roll up your sleeves and let's get baking. It's going to be a wonderful baking adventure. First, let's talk about what you will need for our chocolate sponge. For a generous 2-kilogram cake, you'll need good quality ingredients. Get 450 grams of plain flour and 100 grams of cocoa powder. You also need 500 grams of caster sugar. Add 4 teaspoons of baking powder and a pinch of salt. For the wet ingredients, you will need 8 large eggs. Also, 200 milliliters of vegetable oil and 300 milliliters of milk. And don't forget 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract for lovely flavor. Next, we need our delicious cherry filling and syrup. We will use 700 grams of cherries. You can use tinned, pitted cherries in syrup or fresh ones if they are in season. If using fresh, pit them and set aside. You will also need 100 grams of caster sugar for the cherries, and about 60 milliliters of Kirsch, which is a cherry brandy. This gives it that traditional Black Forest taste. If you prefer not to use alcohol, a little cherry juice is fine. For the luscious whipped cream and decoration, it is simple. You will need 1.2 liters of double cream, very cold. Also, gather 120 grams of icing sugar, sifted, and another teaspoon of vanilla extract for the cream. To finish it beautifully, you will need chocolate shavings, about 100 grams of dark chocolate, finely grated or shaved, and some fresh cherries with stems for the top. These make it look so inviting and pretty. Now, for the tools to help us bake. You will need large mixing bowls, a whisk, and a spatula. 3 9-inch round cake tins are ideal for this size. Make sure to grease and line them well with baking parchment. Of course, you need an oven, preheated to 180 degrees Celsius, or 160 degrees if you're using a fan, or gas mark 4. A cake leveler or a long serrated knife is very useful. A piping bag with a star nozzle will help with decoration. A cake turntable is also handy, but not essential. Let's start by making our chocolate sponge layers. First, preheat your oven as mentioned. Then, grease your cake tins and line the bases with baking parchment. In a large bowl, sift together the flour, cocoa powder, sugar, and baking powder. Add a pinch of salt too. This helps to bring out the chocolate flavor. Mixing the dry ingredients well is an important first step. It ensures an even bake for your lovely sponges. In another separate bowl, whisk together the wet ingredients. Crack in your 8 large eggs. Add the vegetable oil, the milk, and the vanilla extract. Whisk them until they are well combined and smooth. Now, gently pour the wet mixture into the dry ingredients. Fold them together carefully with your spatula. Do this until you have a smooth, rich batter. Be careful not to overmix. Just combine until no flour streaks remain. Divide the batter evenly between your 3 prepared tins. Now it is time to bake our sponges. Place the tins into the center of your preheated oven. Bake for about 30 to 35 minutes, or bake until a skewer inserted into the center comes out clean. Ovens can vary, so keep an eye on them. Once baked, let the cakes cool in their tins for about 10 minutes. Then, carefully turn them out onto a wire rack. Peel off the parchment paper. Let them cool completely before you even think of assembling. This is very important for a neat cake. While the cakes are cooling, prepare the cherry filling. If using tinned cherries, drain them, reserving the syrup. If using fresh, combine them with the 100 grams of sugar and a little water in a pan. Cook gently until the cherries soften and release their juices. Set some whole cherries aside for decoration. You can add the kirsch to the reserved syrup or the cooked cherry juice. For the cream, ensure your bowl and whisk are chilled. Pour in the cold double cream. Add the sifted icing sugar and vanilla. Whisk until it holds stiff peaks. Be careful not to overwhip, or it will become buttery. Once your cake layers are completely cool, we can assemble. If the tops of your cakes are domed, carefully level them. Use a cake leveler or a long serrated knife. Place one chocolate sponge layer onto your serving plate or cake stand. Gently brush this layer with some of your cherry syrup, with kirsch if using. This adds moisture and flavor. Then spread a generous layer of the whipped cream over the sponge. Scatter a good amount of your prepared cherries on top of the cream. Repeat this process with the second layer of sponge. Brush it with syrup, then add a layer of cream. Scatter more cherries over the cream. Now, place the third and final sponge layer on top. You have a lovely tall cake building up. For this top layer, you can brush it with syrup too if you like. Now, it is time to cover the entire cake. Use your remaining whipped cream to cover the top and sides of the cake. Try to get it as smooth as possible with a palette knife. Now for the really fun part, the decoration. Take your dark chocolate shavings. Gently press them onto the sides of the cake. You can use your hands or a palette knife. They will stick to the fresh cream. This creates that classic Black Forest look. For the top, fill your piping bag, fitted with a star nozzle, with some whipped cream. Pipe lovely rosettes of cream around the edge of the cake. Or you can pipe them all over the top if you prefer. Finally, arrange your reserved fresh cherries on top. Place one cherry on each rosette of cream, or scatter them artfully in the center. A little dusting of icing sugar or cocoa powder can also look lovely. Chill your magnificent Black Forest cake in the fridge for at least an hour before serving. This helps it to set and makes it easier to slice. Serve generous slices, perhaps with a little extra cherry sauce on the side. Well done. You've baked a truly wonderful cake. Enjoy every bite.